Hey, I am interested in recording videos of tech stuff, and so I'm going to try a simple little project and record a video and see what happens, see what I learn from it. So, what do I want to do? I have this light, and it takes AAA batteries, but I don't want to use AAA batteries. I want to use a power supply. So I'll start by using a benchtop power supply, and I'm just going to give it some pigtails coming out the back so I can use those instead of batteries. And then maybe later on I'll get a power supply that I can plug into the wall and do it that way. Alright, so first things first, I'm gonna grab some wire. I like to use wire with silicone insulation. I don't actually know how many amps I'm going to use, but this stuff is cheap, so I'll just try this out and then play with the power supply, see how many amps I end up wanting, and if I change it, I change it. This is stranded 22 gauge silicone wire. I like the stuff that comes with the red and the black together. So I think I want to put a hole in the bottom here and then take the wire up. If you look in here, these cells are meant to be wired in series, and the AAA batteries are 1.5 volts each, which it actually tells me. I think it pretty quickly drops away from 1.5 volts in the real world once you start drawing stuff from it. But let's just see how things look on the power supply. It should be fine if I give it the 1.5 each number. So how long of a cord do I want? For now, I'll start with, I don't know, maybe a meter-ish and see where that takes me. I'm going to need a hole to put this in, so let's go ahead and do that. Got my box of drill bits, and let's see, 1/8 seems like the magic number that I always end up taking. I like to get a box of super cheap drill bits, and then what I'm really buying is the box. As the bits inevitably break, I just replace them with better bits and put them back in the box. Alright, I want the hole somewhere here-ish. Doing stuff on camera, this is new for me. So, how does one do this? Middle-ish. Doesn't look like I'll go through anything particularly important, but if I do, this is from the dollar store. Oh, would you look at that top tier hole. Not too bad of a burr on the inside. Okay, let's see if we're happy. Go through that side. It's like this double layer thing. Let's see, oh, it split apart on me on the inside before going through the second layer. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see. Did I pull this end apart? I did not. Let's feed this end in. See if we get luck here. I like using as small hole as I can get away with, because that means less shmoo will end up getting in later, and I can even put in like my own silicone shmoo. Alright, now we're inside. Let's get this wired up. Okay, so these are meant to go in series. You can tell because there's the negative side of a battery, positive side, and they're joined together. You don't connect it positive and a negative together unless you're going in series with these battery packs. So to find out what I want to do, there's one end that's a negative battery end that's not connected to a positive, so that's going to be the most negative end. And then there's one positive end that's not connected to a negative end, that's going to be the most positive end. So here's the most negative side, that's going to get my black wire, and here's the most positive side, that's going to get my red wire. Now, let's see if I can connect these without melting everything with my soldering iron. I really like these kinds of strippers because it's kind of just a one-size-fits-all. They can be super annoying to get used to at first, but then once you kind of have the feel for your own pair, I find it super convenient. And they're less likely to grow legs and wander off too, because if someone doesn't have the feel for your clippers, then they're probably pretty inconvenient. Now I'm going to start soldering. I don't know how nicely this is going to solder, so I think I'm just going to do my favorite thing and do a crappy job first, just trying something random, and then pretty it up later if I feel like it. Now, normally I can get my face in there a little bit better, but with this camera in the way, this is a new experience for me, so I'm trying to play with what I want to do. Generally, if you're going to solder something, you want a good mechanical feel for what the setup is actually going to be like. So this thing flopping around, that's not a good idea, because that's going to cause me a headache when I go do the soldering. So I'm going to go get my clamp thingy. And be aware you're about to jiggle a little bit, your whole universe. All right, here's my clamp thingy. It's a little benchtop vise. You can get them for, I don't know, $50 or less Canadian. So I'm just going to stick that on end of my table. It has these C clamps that I'm tightening up right now out of frame. I'm going to get at least one of them secured to the table. And that will make it so that I'm not quite flying all over the place. Move this back. And now let's get this clamped in. Oh, don't tell me it won't fit. Dang it. I guess I have to go this way. It's not the end of the world. Okay, now let's recenter the universe. Okay, so now I have a little bit more control over what I'm doing. One day you'll have a little bit more light. A, when I get this thing working, plugged into that, and B, when I get the actual cheap lights that I ordered off Amazon. Okay, so now I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold this in place, and then I'll hit that with the iron and see if I can get it soldered up before I melt the plastic. So there you go. If you're learning soldering, that is the #1 soldering hack, is make it so that you don't need 11 hands by clamping the thing in place. #2 soldering hack, get everything tinned before you try and join it together. And #3 soldering hack, have an iron that you like and work at a reasonable temperature. I don't really know what temperature I'm going to want here, so I'm just going to guess 300 degrees Celsius and then see if that brings me joy or not. So, like having a good clean tip on the iron, and then you want to tin the iron a little bit by adding some solder into it. That liquid is going to give you a nice thermal conductivity to work with. And then I'm going to come in here and tin this wire lead. And getting these things with solder on them already is going to make this process so much easier, because later I just come in and touch the two sides together. Now, I have no light, you have no light, so we'll just see what happens here. And really this is a bigger piece of metal, so 300 degrees, that seems like it's not going to be enough. If the temperature of the iron is too low, then I'll have to hold it on there forever to let it heat up, and then everything will start melting. It's better to actually, I'm going to go right up to 400. I've got this wet sponge here too, so I can keep the tip of it nice and clean. Avoid all these oxides getting in the way of my heat path from the iron to the target. Okay, and let's just, I'm heating the thing I want to join to, and then adding solder to it. That went pretty clean, doesn't look melted to me. This doesn't have to be at 400 anymore, but I think that felt pretty comfortable. Let's get some of that wire out of the way. Now I'm just going to add heat to these two pre-tinned surfaces. They join together. All done. All right, that's one side done. No real headache there, actually. That was pretty smooth. My iron's still at 400. I'll give myself a little slack again there. Do this side. So this side, I think, will be a little easier for everyone to see. I don't know, it's easier for me to see. Oh, there you go, wiggling again. I don't know why you keep doing that. It's because you're on a music stand. Tin the tip. And all right, now let's do a sanity check before I wire everything backwards. Battery connections have the springy thing go on the side of the battery that doesn't have the notch, and that's the negative side, and you can see that there's the little picture there. That's positive, that's negative. Great, sanity check, good. All right. I already did this. Why am I doing this? And now I think this will be easier if I switch hands. Let's put the iron here. The way that you hold things does so much to making the process go nicely. Okay, so I have it held where I want it, and now I add the heat. Great. I can almost see that. It doesn't seem melted, so I'm happy. And that part is done, and I can turn off my iron. So I like to just go like this on the wet sponge. If I was feeling particularly smart, I might add some extra solder to the end of the iron to help protect it from the air. But everything is nice and shiny, so I'm happy. Try and make sure I don't burn down the house. And okay, so now we have one end in here. Let's just make sure that this cover fits on the way I want. Oh, I guess I can take it out of this now. Okay, I'm happy with that. Still has this hook thing. Might be useful later. All right, now let's work on the other end. I am a fan of spade connectors, and spade connectors are these things here. This is what a female spade connector looks like. I'll bring some closer to the camera. That's a female one. We're gonna need two male spade connectors. So a female spade connector looks like that. Male spade connector looks like that. They're most often used for circuits in the 12 to 24 volt range for current levels up to approximately 10 amps. I like them because they're super versatile. I kind of just put them on everything. I even use them up to 120 volts in the lab. Don't do that in your house unless you really want to. Not recommended. So what I'm gonna do, I always use a female spade connector for a thing that is supplying power, and I always use a male spade connector for a thing that is receiving power. It's the same concept of like electrical outlets in your house with the three prongs. You know, the thing in the wall that has all the pixies inside of it doesn't have the prongs sticking out, because if you accidentally touch them, then you die. So you put the sticky outy prongs on the things that don't make you dead. And if you follow a convention, then when you're wiring up your light, you always give it the connector that can plug into the thing that juices up the light. And then you're not constantly going to make converter thingies because you made this light use males and this light use females. And anyway, this is a good system. I like it. It served me well. Let's connect the thing. So we're going to need one on each of these. Take out the lovely wire strippers again. Let's get this thing out of the way so you can see what's happening. Great. All right. And I like to strip a healthy amount of wire off of each side. You'll always see me do this twisting thing after I strip the wires. Wires like it when you give them a little twist. They act nice. They don't fray all over the place. I'm talking about stranded wires in particular. They just act like a more cohesive single entity. You know, they're cozy with their insulation on, but you take the insulation off and they want to go dancing all over the place as individual strands, and that is not acceptable to me. So when I'm working with spade connectors, you can do things the way that they're actually meant to be done. But I love that I can take this one part, get a whole bunch of them, and then use them for every single kind of wire. So I do it the wrong way, and I love doing it the wrong way. And the wrong way means using this one size of hole for every single size of wire that I can possibly fit in it. So if you want to make that work, which you do, because it's wonderful to have only one part that works for everything, you're going to need to fold this thing back and forth, and that is going to make it stay where you put it. So I strip it nice and long, give it a twist, fold it back and forth, put it in the thing, and then I'm going to crimp it. So I put it in that thing, give it a good little squeeze to secure it, and then give it a good big squeeze. Oh, don't cut that. Big squeeze. And that will stay nice and secure and do exactly what I want it to, and I think it's like 1 milliohm or something of resistance, if that, through this connector. Which means that it will be cozy at 10 amps. Keep in mind, there's a difference between cozy in an open air setup that's being monitored like this, and cozy inside of the wall in your house. This is not cozy for inside the wall in your house. That would get hotter. If this thing comes unplugged, then it's a spark hazard. It's a potential heat up and burn stuff hazard. Better to use things for what they're actually rated for if you're not going to have it in front of your eyes at all times. All right, great. I think I'm done. I mean, this side soldered up, this side crimped up. Let's plug it in. So I do want to set the power supply to the right level. So a AAA battery is 1.5 volts. 3 of those in a row is going to be 4.5 volts. So let's set this to 4. And if I can get this dial to do what I want it to do. Hey, Frabjous day. And then how many amps? I don't know. 1 amp. I'm going to set it to 1 amp. Let's see. It'll tell us if it wants more. And then we put the positive to the negative and the negative to the positive. No, don't do that. That will make your chair go backwards. All right. Now we see if it catches fire. My favorite part. Power is on, and hey, nice and bright. So we're taking 1 amp right off the bat directly. So I think it's fine to just give it more current. Our voltage is dropped to 3.38. that's not super unreasonable. This is in the range of what a AAA battery would be making it do. But let's just see if it catches fire when I let it go to its 4.5 volts, because that extra brightness is convenient. Wow. So we're actually taking 3.2 amps. That's a little bit more than I thought we would. What I'm doing now is feeling to see if it gets hot, because I don't want to reduce the lifetime of these LEDs too much. It's probably a little unreasonable. Let's just take it to 3 amps. And it's, the more juice I give it, the faster they'll die. It's only a matter of time before they die. So this is a dollar store item. I don't really care if it dies, but I don't want to have to solder the thing again. It's kind of annoying. So I want to find a nice balance spot. Let's see if this becomes my light source in the future. Then I'm going to use it like that. And what light am I happy with? It is only 1.7 amps right now. That's not unreasonable. It's so much more light than you guys got before. You can move it nice and far away. Let's see, can I clip it to this thing? Oh, that's a weak magnet. Why do they even put that there? Let's see, what if I go like this? Oh, wow. It's the worst. Okay. I mean, yeah, it looks horrible, but you can see, I think, maybe I even take it down to 1.0. Yeah, anyway, I'll play with this later. So if I want to get rid of this thing and make it plug into the wall instead, so I can actually use my power supply for power supply stuff, then what I would do is go into my drawer, pull out one of the bajillion power supply things that I've collected from various stuff, old laptop power supplies or phone chargers or whatever. I just keep all those, put them in a drawer. They're useful. Pick one that's appropriate for the job. If I find one that's like 4.5 volts, that's great, but I won't find one. So what I'll do is I'll pick one that's any higher voltage that I want and throw a buck converter in there, and a buck converter will step it down to what I want. Yeah. Anyway, I'm done now. The light's on. We're very happy. You can look inside here. Nothing's catching fire yet. Looks very healthy. That's all I got. Video number 1 done.